been a great idea. I didn't do that, but that's fine. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Directors meeting for April 2021. You may have noticed we did not have one in March. That is intentional. The bylaws require us to have a meeting every 8 weeks, and we have decided that unless there is pressing business, we do not need to do it every 4 weeks. So we're going to probably aim for 6 to 8 weeks between meetings, barring busy seasons and so forth. My name is Charlie Plain. I am the current chair of the board under protest. But I am here to run this meeting and get us to where we need to be. I need to very quickly post this link on the forums.
I'm doing it right now, Charlie.
All right, I'll have Maggie do that then. Could I have everyone very quickly introduce themselves, starting with Maggie?
Hi, I'm Maggie Geppert, JEDZ8 on the boards. I am the executive officer.
Brian?
Brian Schafline, Director of Operations, Jeebus on the forums.
Justin? Justin? You're muted.
Hey, hi. Resistance is futile on the boards, current chief financial officer. And yeah, happy morning.
And last but not least, and certainly with the most magnificent beard, TJ.
Jörg Ott, Director of Second Editions. Thanks.
We are a little bit late today. We have Scott had to go do some stuff with his wife, and it is Chris Nosby's birthday. So happy birthday to Chris. He's turning 40, and if his 40th birthday is anything like mine, he woke up today and something hurt that didn't hurt yesterday. So happy birthday, Chris. Our first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from last month. Did everybody get a chance to look over the last meeting, which was in February? Did everybody get a chance to look those over? I noticed one thing that I would like to see edited. You wrote that I was elected chair for the 2021 calendar year, and we don't run on calendar years for that. It's for 1 year's worth of meetings. So basically, I'm the chair until the next period of review. The first meeting after the period of review next year. So it's very pedantic of me to bring that up, but I didn't want there to be any misunderstanding about when my term is. So that was the only thing I saw that seemed out of place.
I didn't see anything.
Meeting after POR.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything else either. So,
okay. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes, please? With that correction. So.
I move.
And I'll second.
So moved and seconded. Anyone opposed to approving the meetings? Minutes, sorry. All right, that motion carries with no opposition. For the record, I did check because we have a light attendance. We have a quorum, which is the majority of our members here, so we are able to conduct new business. Not that there is much on the agenda. We will start with the meeting reports, and as is traditional, the first meeting report is that of Maggie, our executive officer. So Maggie, take it away.
It's been a light month for me in the EXO duties, but I have been, since the period of review is finished. Specific to my duties, I have been working very lightly with a couple of different people who have contacted me about ideas for programs for new players. So, and Charlie and I met with a couple of folks yesterday about that topic. So, hoping to see some motion on those sorts of projects soon. I will do my best to get those onto my personal agenda so I can start running with that. But as for my EXO duties, that's what's been going on there. Other stuff around here, I'm hosting an online release event for Dogs of War, and been doing some play testing for second edition. And so that's what I've been working on.
Outstanding. Thank you, Maggie. Next is first edition, which is yours truly. The biggest news since our last meeting is probably the release of Dogs of War, which has been very exciting. That's the standalone Dominion end of the Dominion War expansion. I think most people seem pretty happy with things. Got a lot of good content come out of it. I want to take a moment to give a special shout out to all of our volunteers, from design, playtesting, to rules, to creative, to art, and our operations team who really pulled it out. I mean, I think the art quality in Dogs of War is as good as ever. Johnny said his art team really knocked it out of the park. Chris and Johnny were very patient as we changed that effing Sona card, the alliance with the Sona, about 4 times in the last 3 weeks. It went from, it was a pain. It was a 3-line event, and then it was a 4-line event, and then it was a 5-line event, and then it was an incident, and then it changed like 2 more times. So, but I'd rather change it 5 times and get it right than break something. So kudos to everybody. The other big thing that's been going on for 1E has been our annual March Madness, which has just been shatteringly epic this year. Actually, if you're watching this meeting live or sometime on Sunday, you could still vote in the final match. It's we started with 64 card ideas, and we're down to Hollow Program, Loyalty Test from Deep Space Nine, and the Fast Spinning Planet from Voyager. So you can go vote. Turnout this year was 3 to 5 times better than it's ever been in the past. So thank you, everybody who participated in that. In terms of what's coming next for 1E, we've got a lot of irons in the fire. We're hoping to update the website for the 1E section of the website with some new content here soon. We've got the first set in the movie block in playtesting, and just a bunch of irons in the fire, but not enough that I can really like share any timelines or details with you. But there's a lot of really cool stuff coming down the road, and I'll leave it like there. So that will let me segue over to 2E, which is TJ, our friend TJ.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Yeah, at the moment we have the next set in proofreading, and the cards for the set, except one card, is already fixed, and everybody knows about the borderless cards. We talk about that later, I guess, if everybody has said what we are going for. Yeah, the next set, I suppose, will show up between 22nd of April as for spoilers, or maybe a week later, but I'm very confident that we can make it with the support from the programmers at 22nd of April, showing up with the first spoiler, and then 2 weeks for the sets. That the set will be fully available and seen for everybody at the beginning of March, around 7th March. Maybe it has to be late because of proofreading reasons for a week, but the next set will be available definitely latest in the middle of May. After that, the next set is Project Diana. It is already in playtesting, and we did the first playtesting stuff. For me, it's looking very interesting, but at the moment I can't say how much circles of playtesting we need. After Diana, I'm not sure if I go for the community set, which is in a very good shape, where the set size will going up from 27 to 36 cards. Depending on the last cards and the quality of the cards, it might be that a different set coming first of 12 cards, 9 cards to 12 cards clothing the gap. That depends on the quality of the last 9 cards of the community set. Because the production of Project Connor, the set that is coming in end of April, May, is nearly ready, gives us the opportunity that I have available designers. So they already started to collecting ideas for the new affiliation. I hopefully showing up in 2022. We have also in the guideline in the timeline another affiliation for 2022. If we can make it, is not sure. It hasn't not started, but it is agreed where we try to do so. And I have interested in designers for another affiliation during that timeline. On the other side, I changed a little bit the errata team to balance team, and I followed a meeting of the balance team yesterday. So I just participated at midnight, and it was very interesting about the idea they have. And today I got the list of the intended changes from the balance team. They look very promising. Part of them will going to play testing. Another part will be just published because play test is does not bringing any results. The list is interesting, and I'm thinking the team is doing a good job. The watch list for TUI has been updated now, and we have another update today, I guess. I haven't checked it. I just got the note from my leads. So I expect that the balance team will continuously provide us with good changes. Depending if they have to go to play test or not, it will take time, but it is intended to send them to update the watch list and the radar cards monthly now as on a regular base, so that everybody can see at the beginning of the new month there will be new cards. Yeah. Okay. That's all.
Outstanding. Thank you. Scott is not here, so we'll skip communications and go straight to operations. Brian.
I think the best news from operations is that Dan has shipped all the outstanding purchase orders for from the promenade. The raffle is still left to ship. He said that will be shipped either over this week or by next Sunday. And then we will well, I guess that's enough for shipping. What else? Marcus has been squashing some bugs for us in programming. We're still investigating something that's going on with some premium memberships where sometimes of the day it's not, they're not, their premium membership isn't enabled. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there. If it's happening to anyone else, please post in the technical difficulties forum, because I would like more data points on that to try to figure out when and how it's happening and to who. What else?
The way people are noticing this is their folders are disappearing in the deck builders.
Right.
So if you all notice that happening, report it. I haven't seen it on mine. But.
Yeah, and the other possibility is that they, for some reason, won't be able to access the premium deck builder. So that's another sign that it might be happening to you. So if that is occurring, please post in the technical difficulties forum. And then I'll probably have some follow-up questions for you. I think that's all I can think of for this past month and a half. So that'll be me.
All right, thank you. Again, Chris is not here, celebrating his birthday. So again, happy birthday, Chris. We will skip him and have Justin give us an update. So.
It's been a busy couple months looking through, doing a complete analysis of all the transactions that was sparked with the PayPal issues that we had that had come up and are now resolved. For everyone who didn't know, the underlying issue was apparently PayPal had flagged several of our transactions as fraudulent, which was odd because this has never happened before. But needless to say, that was annoying, but it's been resolved. Mainly, the resolution had to basically provide, they asked for the invoices for several of the payments made from the account had to PayPal, as well as having to transmit photo identification as well. So, but that has been resolved, which is great. Took a little bit for them to clear it. I had submitted all the evidence. It was like 2 weeks before the resolution, so it took them over 2 weeks to clear all that information, which seems really, really slow. But it's all taken care of. The annual filing, of course, for 2021 is complete, because that's something we do in April every year. So that's all taken care of. So that's amazing. So yeah, so a lot of activity, and I'm still working on the article. The article is taking longer than expected, because I wanted to make sure that I anticipate as many of the questions that people might have, and so they can just basically read through the article and they get all their information, and it's clear and succinct. So that is working. I'm hopeful to have it done. I'm going to try for the end of April, but I do have a week of vacation coming up in May, and that will definitely be able to get it done on my vacation from my real job, which will be amazing. So yeah.
Thank you, Justin. Okay, moving on to old business. Printable promo update. So we made a big batch of stuff printable in May. We've officially switched our printable from January, July to May, not May, March and September. We've promised in September to catch up on all of the backlog, and work is going forward on that. I'm appreciative of everybody that's pointed out and sent PMs to me, but I'm hoping to have a master list done in May, and then get the stuff done to the art teams and get everything ready, and then we'll have it ready to go September or sooner. That is where we are on that. Promenade and shipping status. So you touched on this in your operations report, Brian, but there's a lot of people who are frustrated about the shipping situation over the last year and a half. What are we doing to address that? Can we talk about that?
Sure. So it's not, I don't have any dates solidified yet, but very soon, I would guess within the month, we'll be transferring basically the whole warehouse operation to me, and I'll be handling shipping out product. Dan will be taking care of raffles and some other stuff, but he won't be handling the tournament kit shipment any longer after that. But right now, the plan is for him to finish out the orders we have to date, and then all of our product will be shipped over to me, and then I will be taking over most of the shipping management role until I figure out exactly everything that entails for our operations, and then if anyone else would like to take on that role going forward from that, then we'll see what, how we arrange for that. But so the idea is that I would be doing the shipping moving forward, but I don't have a firm date on when that actual transfer will happen. I think within the month, but we'll see what happens there. And that should hopefully alleviate some of the shipping bottlenecks, because Dan has a busier life than he used to, so that's understandable. Everybody's got a life outside of this, so my life is less busy. I don't have the children that he does, so I have more time.
What about the European warehouse? Has that gone anywhere?
It hasn't yet. If anyone else is interested in taking on that role, please contact me, and I'm taking on the European shipping role. Just even if you have only a little bit of interest, reach out to me, and then we can talk about it.
We had somebody who volunteered, but I believe they're no longer a part of the community, so, or at least a part of the site. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to acknowledge that, while we don't blame Dan for being busy and letting this go. I think we should blame ourselves for letting this go as long as we did and disappointing so many people. I'm not looking to point fingers, but I just want to make sure that as we address these situations, we make this a learning opportunity and put safeguards in and make sure that we aren't disappointing people with our shipping again. So
Yeah, one thing on that note, I think one thing I think we'll move towards is having basically like two shipping dates per month. So every order up to whatever that date is, and if it's the 10th of the month, every order ships out, the 11th, and then the next one is, whatever, the 24th or something like that. So it's like every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, all shipments to that date will go out, and then everything will build up again, and then after 2 weeks another shipment will go out to everyone. That way, at least everyone knows when things ship and when they have to order by.
yeah, there are a lot of options on how we can address this. I just got to address it. So, and again, no finger pointing here other than at this organization itself. All right, next is a button list update, and there were some people who were asking about it who said it'll never ever happen. And I almost spent all day yesterday doing it just to spite you. However, that's not a great reason to do things. And so here's the situation. We have a new person who's going to take over the button design. I need to get the stuff from Johnny to that person, and then we're going to make some new buttons and we're going to order them. And with all the new promos, we're going to basically spending this time while the store is in transition, stocking up on everything. And at the time we release the new buttons, I will also release a new button checklist for you. So it is not forgotten. It's just I'm going to update it when I update the new buttons, which I'm hopeful will be in the next month or two. So that is that update. Was there anything else under old business that I failed to put on the agenda that you guys think we need to cover? Okay, let's move on to new business. Making borderless promos printable and borderless promos in general. So we created the borderless promo program with the intention that they would be rare and hard to get, but not frustratingly so. And because of the pandemic and the lack of we had distribution plans tied to in-person events and things like that, and then there weren't any for the most part. But we've still kind of done a crappy job distributing these promos. So one proposal has been to we will use the stock of the first, because we only printed the first set of 9 for both 1E and 2E. So one proposal has been, let's finish the stock we have of those, and in our next printable promo update, which would be September, we make those 9 cards for the first 9 for 1E and the first 9 for 2E, make them printable so that they're available for everybody and they can make their own. And then we'll distribute the second set of 9 with better distribution plans. There have been other suggestions, and I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts on how we can make these printable, if we want to make them all printable, if we want to continue the program. Basically, I just want to open it to the floor to hear people's thoughts on where we are with this program and what we want to do. So.
Well, at this point in time, it's really becoming clear that people want to have these one way or another. So, I don't have a problem with us making the sets printable for people so they can put them in Lackey if they want to play with them. Because right now people are playing with them in Lackey, but the watermark's on there, so it's impacting gameplay. I like how special they are, and I like how rare they are. But you're right, we've done a terrible job of giving them out. I was just talking with Scott, and this was just before the meeting on our group, the board group text. Scott would be willing to write an article to start recruiting people to, make puzzles, come up with contests, that sort of thing, so we can get these out, so we can have monthly contests, or every new contest every other week, maybe a second edition one, maybe a first edition one, alternating in a month, so we can get these promos going out to the people. I also I saw an idea from Marcus. I want to say I asked about this on the second edition staff board, and some ideas included things that we could use that need to be crowdsourced. If you've noticed on the gameplay boards, Marcus has been trying to get people to scan pictures of a number of the hard to get promo cards, like the decipher promos, like the first edition tournament foils and the tournament foils, the OD whatever 72, or the really hard to get ones that nobody has, that very few people have copies of. He's been trying to get those to put into the database so people can, and put those on the website, so we have a complete website of that. So he's like, well, why don't what if we crowdsource the image collection and and then offer a random borderless promo to anybody who sends us stuff. So I mean, there's good ideas out there for getting them out, but I think probably at least doing, making at least the first set printable, so people can make them for themselves. Put them in their own decks if they want to, would certainly, I think, ease some of the angst about these.
No, nobody can hear me. I'm muted. Does anybody else have some thoughts on this and other ideas? So
at the moment, no ideas, but I like to talk a few minutes about the borderless cards later. If
that's fine.
Okay.
So, I screwed up my Zoom somehow, and I can't.
By the way, Tiak, there is much speculation about, are you going to light the cigarette? This is on the YouTube chat.
No. I just get a note. I should light the one, but I think my wife will be unsatisfied. She's a little bit tense. She's a little bit tense today, so it's maybe not a good idea. It's maybe not a good idea. I'm thinking about it if it's worth the trouble. Yeah.
Also, there's been much admiration of the beard, and saying that you need an eye patch and some ravens, and you can be
at the moment, it is a little bit hard here to get an appointment with a hairstylist, so it's not easy. I just have to let it grow, but I dress it up a little bit. So.
All right. I definitely am in favor of sort of putting the first 9 of the borderless on each edition up for being printable at the next printable update. So I think we should do that at the very least, and continue to find new ways to distribute these so that people's frustrations can be addressed. I do want to reiterate that, like, these were designed to not be like easy to get. But they're not supposed to be as hard as they have been. So I think if we can continue distributing through contests and through engagement and through volunteer work and at our events, I think we can get this program back to a place where it should be. So does anybody have a problem with making the first set of 9 printable at the next printable update?
No.
Okay. Then I think that we should make that happen, and I will add it to my list of things to appear in September. So the first set of 9 promos for each edition will become printable no later than September, and we will continue to find ways to distribute these to people in a manner more consistent with how we wanted them to be done when we created the program. So Chark, you wanted to talk about borderless promos, so
Yeah, I just have another question to the board. I was asked about, and I want to bring that to the board. I think we do not have to decide it. We do not have to decide it yet. But we have these lifetime ban decision, and as far as I'm now, it is that it has to be an appeal to the board for, what is it, reinstatement? Yeah, is that the right
Yes.
vocabulary? Yeah, so reinstatement. And I was asked if it is an option for us that we are being the more active part and say that we monitor from time to time about these lifetime bans and make a decision from our side. If a lifetime ban is relieved or something like that. So that was a question brought to me, if there are any problems that we are the active part, or is it necessary that there must be an appeal to the board for reinstatement, or can we say, okay, from our side, not going public, but decided that from our side, this lifetime ban is no longer active. That was a question brought to me, and that makes sense for me because we made a lifetime ban, and we make it easier to come back to the community because Charlie initiated that we need just a majority vote. And now my question is that also an option for us that we say, okay, it was a decision of the board for a lifetime ban, and now we actively monitor if there's an option for reinstatement? That is my question. We do not have to decide it now, because not everybody is here, but I like to know what you think about that.
What does that look like? What is active monitoring?
Active monitoring means for me, from my side, that we, after a certain period of time, say, okay, we have bans for these people, and we talk about if that from our side should be get rid of or something like that. So I'm a little bit problem with the vocabulary here, and then we're waiting for a kind of appeal. But that we more actively say, okay, from our side, the ban is still active, or from our side, if a kind of appeal or something like that happens, we have already said that we already made a decision and not waiting for the appeal. I think if people are banned, maybe it is kind of face loss. They come back, appeal to us, and for us it's not a face loss if we say, yeah, we monitor the behavior, we are control the situation and say that is my question. I don't know if
is the basic question, should there be a pathway to restoring somebody who's not asking to be restored?
Yeah. So actively from our side. So maybe not that we make a decision and go to the people and say, hey, you are restored, but that we being more the active part instead of waiting for people ask us to give back their rights. Yeah, that is.
I'm certainly not a parliamentarian. I'd have to look at the bylaws. I don't know that it says that's the only way to be restored.
Yeah,
I mean,
as far as
the bylaws right now state that they have to appeal.
Yeah, that is what I read. And my question is, is that necessary, or can we offer a second option?
I feel very strongly that it is necessary, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
So what I think, if I can try to explain the way it was written, the way that clause was written, where after 6 months, they can ask for reinstatement, or that was meant as us saying we are guaranteeing that you will have the ability to come back and ask us to come back to the community, right? It's not meant to be the only way you can come back. It's just meant to be, we're guaranteeing that there is a path back if you want it. But I don't understand the idea of us actively monitoring activity, because there is no activity. That was part of
maybe the wrong wording activity, but if you are actively give out a lifetime ban, maybe you should be also the active part after time, say, okay, from our side, it is not necessary anymore, not monitoring the behavior or so. So I have not, I make clear, I think everybody knows whom we are talking about. Yeah, but I was not asked by this person. I was asked by third party if that is an option. So what the laws say and so on. And at the moment it is we have to be actively asked, but I was not sure how that was meant and if that is necessary, or if we also can act actively from our side.
So I have two takes on this. We could certainly amend the bylaws to say explicitly the board can overrule a lifetime ban at any time, either by a majority vote or whatever method we want. We could write that in there. My other take is I don't think that's necessarily needed to be explicit, because I think we can already do that.
Yes.
I think that what the bylaws say is you can ask for this to be undone, and that is a pathway to this happening. But I think the board can do that as part of its normal business anyway.
Yes.
So somebody could put a motion to say, I want Alexander Hamilton to be unbanned for life, and we vote on that, just like we do anything else. I think that's currently supported by the bylaws. So
right.
Okay. Thank you because reading the bylaws, I was not sure what is exactly meant by that. For me, I was under the impression it only works away. The banned party has to be the active part.
And I think it's if there are multiple people that are making that reading, I don't particularly see a problem adding a line of language to that section of the bylaws that said, this can be overruled by a vote of the board. But I also don't think we need to. So
a good way to think of the bylaws is that anything written in them can be overridden by a majority vote of the board. That's just the way the structure of a committee works.
Yeah.
We as a committee, we can rewrite the rules of the committee by vote.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Does anyone else have new business they would like to bring up?
Just the borderless cards we just talked about. If nobody else has something,
go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. We had these a little bit confusion about the borderless cards and the borderless promos. First, in the new set, as far as I know, there will be no borderless card. Yeah. I just had a look at the final version Michael Shea made. So I had no time to talk with him what the actual version is, but at the moment there is no borderless card in the new set. But when this problem shows up, I find out I was not up to date about the policy of the borderless cards. And the first thing I would and that's simply because I and not only me but also Scott were not on the job or in the office when the decision was made. So the first thing I would like to know what was the exact voting in the past of the board about the borderless cards, and it would be very helpful if we have a kind of protocol of that meeting, and what was exactly said, because when I followed the correspondence about borderless cards and borderless policy, I was not sure if we were all on the same level. So if I want to talk about that, I need this information, what exactly was said in the meeting, and I hope there's a kind of protocol, or if we can figure out what exactly was said. I think it's also important for Scott or all the others who are not involved in that decision that would be helpful. And following the correspondence, it was not clear about the policy of borderless cards, because first it was said, oh, you cannot make borderless promos. Then some people said to me, oh, you cannot make borderless cards. What is, for me, it's a different. Now it's a little bit, oh, you cannot produce cards that look like borderless cards. So the only thing I'm sure is I can do cards using the normal template. And the problem I have with that, if I want from time to time giving people as a kind of test or something like new looking cards, I do not want a wide range. I do not want a wide range of different looking cards. Now we have new cards in the new set. People that know it, these so-called out-of-frame cards for personals, which is interesting, which is already existing in Wani. And we were looking for a little bit new look from time to time for ships. And I do not want the original template, and I do not want a template totally differ from the borderless cards. So I'm desperately looking for a version that makes it special, but not too special, and looking a little bit like the borderless cards, but being different. So first, please give me the exact decision that was made about the borderless cards, that I do not continuously step on people's toes simply because I not know what is decided. And on the other side, I have a big problem that these decision about the cards is a board decision, yeah, because a lot of people in the past questioned what I did, and so it's a little bit about competences, yeah. So when I make a decision, I think about it, I talk with people, and then I make a decision. But at this stage, a lot of people feel the need to discuss everything. So that's very hard to work with. And I think this is not a good idea to take this competence away from TUI director. I think that from the bylaws, it exactly goes to TUI director. I'm willing to work with the board, but you see, it cannot end up the way that I have to discuss every outlook of every card with the board. So when it was said, okay, promos cannot be done or have it makes a difference if we talk about borderless promos, we talk about borderless cards, and what about look like borderless cards? Yeah. When we talked about that, we had a little disagreement about that, Charlie. So sorry about that. But I did not want to provoke anybody. But you say you told me I cannot do borderless cards. So being an asshole, I make a borderless card with a very, very small frame and said it's borderless. It has a border, yeah. So please give me an option how I can do my job, creating a new looking outlook for specials, yeah. And on the other side, not going too far away from what we have. So find a way in the middle. So that is what I like to discuss when the board is complete.
So, some context for people who may not be knowing what's happening. Just a quick summary.
Yeah, sure.
In the first art proof anybody saw of the next TUI set, there were 3 cards that had art variants on them. 2 of them, as Jarek said, were pop out of frame cards, and the other one was a borderless ship. And some of the people who saw that proof were members of other departments and did not like the use of a borderless ship inside of a normal expansion. That was the situation, and then that got into a lot of other conversations. But the situation was something was done in the TUI file that other departments didn't like, and that was that a fair summary of what happened without getting into the weeds about it? Like, does anybody think that's unfair? What I said? I mean, I'm not trying to name names or point fingers here.
That's fine.
So this is a big conversation, and essentially the core issue, and again, tell me if I'm overstepping here, Chark. I think the core issue that you're saying is you feel like other board members were meddling in your business, and they shouldn't be allowed to.
I wouldn't say it shouldn't be allowed to, because I'm a team player, but you see, it is a little bit easier if I would know the exact decisions that made on former meetings and exactly what it was said. Yeah,
Oh.
This shows up accidentally because I ordered Michael Shea. He can do borderless cards because I did not know. It was months ago. I said, yeah, you can think about new option of looking cards for special. So, and for me, borderless card were not a problem. So I was not aware. And when I talked to Maggie, when we did our weekly playtesting game, she mentioned, oh, there's a borderless card in. And that was the first time I was getting the information. I have seen the cards and I was aware of the out of frame cards, and I overlooked the borderless ship. But that was, and the next day when I followed the correspondence on my PMs, I get the information that there was a decision by the board earlier about these borderless cards. So I was not aware of, and that is a problem that is not happening the first time. And first, I like to have these information earlier because this is a key. This is a key decision, and to have it earlier, it's easier to have more time to say, hey, these are my problems. Why I create this card? How can I fulfill your needs? How can you interact with me? That makes it a lot easier. So I got the information way too long, and I do not have all information yet. So it would be helpful to really say what was said on the board meeting where it said about the borderless card, and meaning, I mean, not just what was said, but what was exactly said. That is one thing. Next thing is, for me, what is interesting, who was the acting TUI director, because he actively, from my point of view, give away key competence of his department. Yeah, I wouldn't say in the past I would have done the same, but he gave away key competence of his department. And what is now, is that binding to me just because the board said so? Is that binding to me what a former director said? Because then I have a big problems, and I just want to avoid that this kind of trouble shows up again and again. At the moment, it is the status is we take out the card simply because we want the set run. But I be honest, I have new cards that look familiar. I think familiar is the word for like borderless cards, and I'm willing to negotiate the outlook with the board to a certain degree. But it is a little bit a problem for me that is a board decision how these cards have to look like. When I follow the correspondence, the only useful feedback I get was from, I guess, from Brian, who said, okay, we have these I just overread because I was texted. The only useful from me reason where I can follow was a little bit what Brian wrote, that he said, yes, this is a highly valuable commodity we give to the community. So we have to be careful of that. And that is, I do not follow it in the end, but that is an argument I could follow or could consider. But basically, I have a problem now. You see, if you give that to the board, okay, I'm fine. If you give it to the board that I cannot do borderless cards or cards that look like borderless cards, then it goes a little bit two-way. If we have to discuss what I also read in the correspondence, that we also have to discuss these kind of all of frame card, I have a big problem because one, he does that. And then the consequences is I have to discuss the outlook of every card. And that is not for the board only, but at a certain point, I cannot allow everybody to interfere in my department. It's not only the board, but a lot of people think it is necessary to discuss every decision when the decision is made. We can discuss a borderless card, but that's a key problem. And I keep, it is easy to keep out of my business and I keep out of yours. I give you an example. If we now decide that this goes to the board, not about the card, just think about competences. Then for me, I think I gave that example to Maggie. Then it is for me, okay, it's also important how articles look. It's also important how the website looks. So, and then I say, okay, a good article has to be 500 words, introduction, middle term, end. So, and now let's say Scott makes an article going more on slogans. Yeah. Do we want the vote about that simply because we say that is important now? So I'm not saying I do not want with the board, but I think the bylaws are very clear where the competences are here. That is one thing. And the other is what happens with the decision in the past I did not know, and what can we do that not happens again, so I get the information in time to avoid any kind of trouble.
Okay, I will go back through because I don't recall. I can't answer your question right now. So what I would like to do is
we have time, and I really prefer that when we talk about that again, because now it is simply delayed because we do not make the card in the new set, and you have time to get the information. But I then prefer that the whole board is there.
So what I suggest is I'll go and do the research and see if I can find the recording or the minutes of the meeting when that decision was made and pull that up and make that available to everybody. I do want to say I have no interest in the board meddling in 99% of the decisions in every department. But I do think that there are circumstances where decisions about what one department is doing impact other departments. And that's exactly why we have a board of directors. That's exactly why we have this structure. So I think a lot of this issue kind of blew up because we were coming at it from different places, and it became an issue of jurisdiction for you, and it was an issue of, because I would make the argument borderless cards appearing in sets affects my department as much as it does yours.
Exactly. I would agree to that. But the next step is, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but like I have no interest in arguing with you about content and direction of 2E and special things you want to do that are unique to 2E, and none of that's my business. And I don't want it to be. And if the board tries to make it that level of micromanagement, I don't know that I want to be part of it. So I'm in largely agreeing with what I think your central premise is. I feel like in this particular case, we had a blow up because we didn't all take a deep breath and talk about it. We just sort of, and I'm saying multiple people, myself included, we all just kind of just reacted to something instead of saying, all right, let's figure out what was going on. But in terms of what I think one of the issues you're addressing is, I'm not interested in any sort of level of micromanagement from departments. Just I want things to be coordinated, but like 2E decisions should be yours, Chark, and you shouldn't be beholden to anything another director did. But there should be circumstances where we're working together and setting policies that impact multiple departments together. So
I totally agree, Charlie. That is not a problem. Usually we have to coordinate our timelines because of 2E and 1E sets. So that is not a big deal. But I hardly recommend that for these decisions, when they are made, they are somehow recorded and available. You see, it was simply because I do not have the information I needed in time. Yeah. And some important decisions should somehow be recorded and transferred if the board changes or something like that. That makes it a little bit easier for all of us. It's always bad for me that I gave my lead an order. Yeah, you can do so. And then when everything is done, I did not expect it to be done so fast. I get the information, oh, you can't do that. Yeah. So it would be helpful if that would be earlier, and we find a way for decisions we think we made on the board and we think that are important, that we make a kind of protocol and a kind of database where you can read it. Maybe not for everything, but this is a decision. And the other thing I think we have to think about all these distribution stuff, where that should be going to. There should be someone being responsible for these distribution, and maybe his rule should be made more clear to everybody. So like said, we have let's say we have an director of distribution. When it says, okay, it goes to the 1E cards and 2E cards go to the, so make it a little bit more clear. I have no problem to give away some competences if I'm asked to, and that is the structure does that. So that is not a problem. And another thing I was not aware of, I think I talked about a plan with Maggie, it was longer ago. I want to create, that is a little bit, I wanted to create a side-by-side borderless card for the tournaments as a giving away, where giving away by the distribution, where I want to create borderless cards for two people playing each other, like Raika fighting his father, or Zilam Korami and Raika playing Kadeskot. So these side-by-side cards. And these cards can only be done borderless. If you do them with a border, they don't look like good, but they can distribute it by the board. But that was an idea I was working on. And I talked about Maggie as an idea about that. So, and it was months ago. But we both never had in mind that might be a problem with interfering with borderless policy. Yeah.
And I apologize for that. I should have thought of that when you showed me those before. But I was thinking, oh, that's a promo card. That's
yeah. For that, but that was for promo.
And I think that nobody, I won't speak for anybody else here, but I don't have a problem with developing these for promos. And I would ask that if you wanted to start making the 2E release promos sort of the blown out template, that could be a good place to have the outlet for our art team. The only thing I would request is having the if we would go that route for like the release promos from the perspective of I'm the person who's going to be assembling those. Borderless promos, like totally borderless, going to the edge of the card, are much more difficult to produce. And
sorry to interrupt.
Right.
Can we just table this at this point, because I feel like this is a longer discussion that we need. Yeah. Let's do the research and let's. But I want to reiterate, none of us are opposed to cool shit, and none of us are opposed to you running your own department. And if anybody disagrees with that, please fight me, because sorry, Chark, I think you're muted.
Yeah, can we make a final thing? So I'm working on a new ship, or a new look for the ship that look a little bit like the borderless cards, but I will give it to art first, and then I send it to the board that you say, okay, that is too close to borderless cards, make some switches or something like that I can continue work. Can we agree to that I work on that, not for this set, but now give it to my art and say, okay, please, as a mind game, work to it, and I want to show it to the board if that's too close to borderless cards. You see, because I do not want to have a borderless ship, a standard ship, and another version. I they should be somehow looks familiar with that. Is that possible that I can give that to my art team so they can give a little bit mind game plays to that card at that moment?
I don't have a problem with you doing that. Like, as a general rule, when I'm trying something new, I share it with the board before I do it. Historically,
Okay.
not necessarily live in a board meeting if we're just trying to be a surprise of it. So I think that's good policy. It's like, I want to do a new thing. What do you guys think? No one's going to tell you what. I mean, if you ask for opinions, you're going to get opinions. But it's like, again, this situation got out of hand, and I don't know how, and I want to make sure it doesn't again. But it's like,
always think, Charlie, Germans or Europeans and American are culturally different. We are more fighting, and then we find a solution. So it is a little bit different here, yeah. And when it comes to me, it's always different, yeah. So because if you ask me for a fight, or I get the feeling you ask me for a fight, I always say yes, you can have your fight. That's the personal problem. That's not nothing you have to take care of. So I continue working on these cards, and then I show it to you for feedback, and then we can talk about that later. Yeah. Okay.
I'll work on digging up our existing borderless policy, and then if we want to put it on the agenda for next month to revisit, we can totally do that. So, was there any other new business that anybody wanted to bring up? Is there anybody who's watching either in our YouTube chat or on Discord or in the thread who wants to bring something up for us to discuss? And I know there's like a 10 or 15-second delay, so I'm going to wait a few before I close the meeting. But did anybody else here live have anything they wanted to bring up?
No. And I haven't seen any questions on, Discord, because I've been watching that. I've been watching the forum thread, and I've been watching the chat on YouTube, so I don't see anything.
Somebody just made the comment, how come I got the feeling that no matter who the chairman is, Charlie always answers difficult questions, saying how things have to be run. Pulling the strings from the shadows? Pretty sure. I'm going to address this. No, I'm going to address this one time and never again. I do not run the show. I have not run the show for 3 years. I will never run the show in that manner again. I am passionate, and I like to think I'm well-spoken, and I'm experienced. So if I'm addressing difficult topics, it's because I feel qualified to address those difficult topics. Now, if anyone in the board or in the public does not want to hear my opinion on a topic, please make that known, and I will do my best to honor those requests. But there is not a conspiracy. Charlie is not secretly running the show, and I resent the implication, and I will not address it again. Clear? Any questions on that statement from the board? Does anybody want to disagree? Would anybody like to expose the conspiracy? I'm air quoting, but my camera's off. Would anybody like to say that Charlie is secretly running everything and is a complete and total asshole?
Well, if you want, I can go get a knife and like prick my finger and check on the screening. But yeah, no, I'm fine.
Ross wants to say he likes that your place seems to have gotten together quickly, Brian. So kudos to that. I think he's probably staged it so we're seeing the corner that looks like it's got its shit together, and there's about 100,000 boxes everywhere else. But
that's exactly right. I'm actually in this meeting from bed because none of the other rooms are available at the moment. They're full of boxes, full of people.
Fake it till you make it. All right.
And Justin thought I was in a new room, but it's my bedroom, and I painted it, and there's new furniture.
Okay. I'm not seeing any actual questions. I see some people saying thank you, and we appreciate the thanks. I see the same person who's accusing me of being a puppet master continuing to do so, and I will no longer engage with that individual on that topic. So, would anyone like to move to adjourn this meeting?
Move to adjourn.
Can I get a second, please?
A second.
Anyone opposed to adjourning the meeting at this time? Okay, I will, as the chair, I will close this meeting. Our next meeting is going to be determined, but it is likely to be towards the end of May, if I had to guess, sometime in the next 6 to 8 weeks. We will make sure you're advertised well in advance and give you the opportunity to join the meeting for public comment or to add items to our agenda. Thank you for watching this stream, whether live or later.